Hey, my name's Eugene and I build and rank websites. I also run quite a lot of Google ad campaigns, Facebook campaigns, and all sorts of digital marketing campaigns. Today I'm going to share some data on a music lessons, music school, music tutoring campaign that I've been running for about a year. I'm going to share some data from the SEO campaign, what we did. I'm going to share some data on the Google ad campaign. This was actually quite a stressful campaign to take over. Client came to us with 0 leads for a number of months. It was a really dated website, custom coded. There was an agency performing some sort of meaningless SEO tasks, and we could feel the stress in the initial meetings with the client. These are not happy campaigns to take on. Happy to say that we're almost 12 months in. We've got about 10 grand spent on Google Ads, and that 10 grand delivered 430 inquiries. Most of those inquiries came from phone calls that lasted for more than 60 seconds. Interesting in this space, in this music lesson space, Google Ads delivers mostly phone calls. Every space is different. So what we did, we fired up a Google ad campaign targeting initially a 5-kilometer radius, then we moved it out to 10-kilometer radius, targeting the music lessons key terms and the music instruments that were desirable. On average, we found that a student will book multiple lessons, multiple classes. Sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 15, sometimes it's much less. Average cost per lead with a Google ad is sitting at $23 per an inquiry right now as an average for the last year or so of the campaign. That was the first thing that we did. We fired up a Google ad while we essentially planned out a completely new website. We planned out all of the new service pages, all of the supporting blog pieces of content that we need to create, all the suburbs that we want to be targeting. So it's a music school, so naturally it's a local business, so we're targeting local suburbs. People generally won't travel 20 kilometers out. Dense city traffic, we want to be targeting local suburbs as a priority. So it's a typical local SEO and Google ad campaign where we want to show up on Google Maps, we want to show up on Google organic results, and as always, we generally fire up a Google ad campaign. So with the Google ad campaign, we created one landing page, but we created a whole bunch of ad groups, essentially separate ad micro campaigns targeting the various instruments. And so at different times of the month, we might get instructions that we want drum lessons, we want violins, guitar, piano, flute, cello, singing, saxophone, clarinet, trumpet, ukulele, and then there's some generic sort of music lessons and brand campaigns. So each one has a few particular keywords that we're targeting, and depending on how busy they are in the different instruments, we will turn off and on campaigns and readjust the budget accordingly. It's really cool to have this kind of power. It's very rewarding, to say the least, especially considering the way the campaign was, the early days of the campaign. I usually take a lot of my campaigns quite personally. I'm quite passionate about what I do. I really love what I do. I genuinely want clients to succeed. I want businesses to succeed. I want people to succeed. So to see this kind of healthy data is always a relief, very rewarding. With the website itself, we constructed 80 pages, 80 core pages were built. Most of those were I think 20 of them were instrument pages targeting the particular instrument. So piano lessons, singing lessons, drum lessons, for example, they got their own dedicated pages. And then what I usually do with a lot of my local campaigns is I target the certain suburbs that get traffic. So for example, music lessons plus suburb, we built 20 or 30 or so of those pages, essentially covering a radius around the location. And this is obviously a physical business where people come in face to face. It's not an online facility. In the last, we're almost at the 12. No, the website is only 6 or 7 months old, but we've created 52 long-form guide-like blogs. So what we do is we want to prove the website trustworthy to Google on our topics. So we might have 5 to 10 blogs on piano. How do you learn piano? How do you choose a piano? Which piano might be good for starters? Where we research a topic and we present to Google the best blog we possibly can that answers the user's intent, gets them the answer as quickly as possible. A lot of these blogs end up being 2,000 to 3,000 words. They have things like dot points, they have content summaries, conclusions, FAQs plus schema, all of the things that we know Google loves, appreciates, sucks up. And they end up being what I call linkable assets. So when you present Google with a guide-like piece of content, you might find that piece of content will pick up links naturally. Backlinks help any SEO campaign. We also send backlinks to those pages. So we call it a reverse silo, in which we create, in this case, 52 long-form guide-like blogs, and those blogs pass SEO juice internally to the main pages. So it's an internal link that goes from the blog that goes to the main page that we're trying to rank. So piano blogs, for example, will link to the piano services page that we're trying to rank for Piano School Melbourne, Piano Tutor Melbourne, Piano Lessons Melbourne, you name it. And so while we're building backlinks to the piano services page, we're building backlinks to the homepage, we're also sending backlinks to the blog, which acts as a pillow to send the SEO juice to the main pages. So I've been talking about SEO quite heavily, but early on in the campaign, it's Google Ads that's delivering the inquiries. Now we have had 294, I should have presented this earlier, we've had 294 inquiries from SEO. Now these are tracked via the organic web form that's on the website. There are many more inquiries that have come from that. In this case, we don't track the clicks to the organic number, but I believe there are 40 or so a month phone calls that come from the Google listing as well, as the business now shows up on Google Maps within a 10-15 kilometer radius for things like music lessons, music tutoring, music school, music studio. Did I repeat myself? We're at the stage now where a lot of the pages that we've built on the website beginning to climb the ranks in Google. We're starting to get that hockey stick graph appearing with the organic traffic. I think we're still about maybe 6 months away before we have the option to dial down the Google Ads. In fact, we have had the Google Ads turned off certain weeks, certain months. The goal is for the SEO campaign to mature and bring enough leads to not need to pay Google Ads. Google Ads is the rental strategy, right? SEO is the ownership strategy. There's not one that's better than the other. You can absolutely have both of them running, plus Facebook ads, plus whatever works, right? There's a cost per lead, cost per conversion with both. So the goal is that SEO matures to the point where we don't need to run the ads. Generally that happens maybe month 7 or 8, we begin to see results from the SEO campaign, but it's a good moment when you get a call from the client and they say, hey, let's pause the Google Ads and let's test just the SEO inquiries, because we've got data on the amount of leads that are coming through by SEO, by Google Ads, etc. Currently, we're working on sending monthly backlinks to the SEO campaign. Currently, we're working on sculpting the Google Ads on a monthly basis. There's unlimited negative keywords that we can find and add to the campaign. So negative keywords is where we're essentially telling Google what key terms we do not want and we do not allow Google to take our money on. This is where a lot of campaigns will just eat budget very quickly, where negative keywords are not taken seriously, or the way keywords are targeted are not taken seriously, or the client just loads us with 100 keywords they want to show up for, where less is more in this space. So for example, if we know that the term music lessons has enough traffic and brings us the leads that we want, music lessons, let's just run an ad for that keyword. Let's not go crazy on all the various ways the term music lessons could be used. Let's make sure that the term free music lessons doesn't show up, or where music lessons with somebody's brand doesn't show up. That's a bit of a hard one, because we can only set that as a negative keyword after we see Google used our budget, or we see an impression of that's a type of keyword that gets entered into Google. So we've got a list of about 3,000 generic negative keywords that we load into all of our campaigns, and that's just built up over years and years of doing this. I've spent more than 20,000 hours building websites, ranking websites, running Google ad campaigns, and building landing pages. So we already have a big track record of what we know works, what doesn't, how to set things up correctly. But with any new campaign, the negative keyword list always there's always new unique keywords it's very difficult to foresee, especially when there are other brands that have the target keyword in the brand name, right? Until that comes up, we don't know that it should be a negative keyword list. At this stage, we've got a few really well high performing campaigns, so we might consider making a dedicated landing page for piano lessons. That will help convert those inquiries much better than a page that has generic all the instruments. That it would like with the pest control campaign. A couple of months into the campaign, we divided the campaign into separate ad groups where general pest control, there's a general pest control landing page, but then things like termite inspections, dead animal removal, mice removal got their own landing pages. We're at the stage now where we want to target certain areas. Let's say, for example, Bayside will get its own landing page. Same with this. Once we have enough data and we can see what brings conversions, what brings the right inquiries, we can then assess and determine if we need to build a dedicated drum landing page and just take the drum traffic there. Cello, piano, depending on what the client requires, we can drive the ship that way. For the SEO campaign, I estimate in the next 6 months, another 50 or so long form guide-like blogs will be loaded on. We've also begun the construction of what I call directory listicles. It's where I use a whole bunch of my other websites. There could be geo directories, so directories that simply mention businesses around Australia, around Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, Adelaide, all the major cities, where I'll place articles where I'll list top 10, best 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 music studios in city, in suburb, and sometimes I'll build 10, 15 of those directory style posts. And what those posts do, they do a number of things. One, they potentially push competitors down the page. They hog real space in the Google results. They push real eyeballs, traffic, and inquiries to my client campaigns. Not to mention backlinks, right? It's a mention from another website. I have a lot of niche specific websites. I have a lot of stuff in the trade space. So if I take on another tradie campaign, hey, I've got a lot of other tradie websites that get mentioned, that directories go up. Top 10 retaining wall, top 10 pest control, top 10 arborists in a city. So there's a lot of assets that I instantly point at our SEO campaigns, at our client campaigns to really give them a kickstart. And so what ends up happening is, I call it, the strategy is really omnipresent, and it's evolved over the years where we get the client to show up on Google Maps, we get the client to show up on Google Organic Results, we're running Google Ads so they instantly show up at the top. SEO takes a while to mature. Eventually that kicks off. We've got a whole bunch of geo pages, so suburb pages maturing through the Google results. We've got a whole bunch of guide-like blogs that prove to Google we're trustworthy on the topic. We've got directory listings on other sites that mention the sites. There's a lot of activity that gets pushed at one brand, and then not all of our eggs are in but one basket. There's always something that's bringing in growth from all sorts of directions, and Google sees that as a genuine brand that's going through the motions and growing and being mentioned on other websites. It's running Facebook ads, running Google ads. Facebook ads we turn on only when there is a Facebook category that's potentially relevant to that. Otherwise, we use Facebook ads just for pixel retargeting. So if someone spends time on a certain website, we will, as soon as they jump off that website and they're within a certain targeted radius or a category, we will show up on their Instagram and Facebook devices. If you run a business or considering opening a business, hit me up. I can do a bit of a dive into the keywords, check out the competitors, see who ranks, see the search volume, and give you some suggestions on what I would do if I wanted to pick up some traffic in the space. Thank you. Bye-bye.